I realize I always sit there for a couple of seconds because I don't think it's streaming yet, but it is. Good morning. My name is Ariane, and I am a former teacher. I was a teacher for 16 years, who this year has decided to take time off to see if I can create a new career for myself, one that's in a creative field, although I always like to say that teaching is a very creative endeavor, and I really enjoyed it. I just was kind of losing my interest and motivation in it, and have always wanted to do other things like be a writer and an artist, to name two of hundreds of different ideas that I've had. I am a neurodivergent thinker and have come to see that and embrace it as a strength. There's a new term I keep seeing going around on social media where people are describing themselves as multi hyphenates, um, which I love. To me, that's like the modern version of saying like a Renaissance man. Um, and I have always been that, I think, because I have lots of different interests and curiosities. And even the way that I kind of work when I'm at home in my home, like on a Saturday, if I have it in my mind that there's like a few things I want to get done, um, I can definitely sit down and focus for hours on something. Um, for example, one thing I've been enjoying doing, my family's been teasing me about a little bit, are these paint by number kits. um, I don't know why. I did one and I was hooked. It kind of reminded me of what I love about puzzles. Um, and I do think it has to do a little bit with my mind being a brain that likes to jump around and do different things. And this kind of an activity and also doing puzzles does allow my brain to like just dig in deep and stay focused in that world. And for hours, I'm just immersed in that thing. Um, so, but I've noticed that like on a Saturday, if I have it in my head, these are the things that I want to accomplish today. Um, I'm kind of like a little, I'm seeing a picture of a hummingbird. So hummingbird is coming in my head. I think of myself like a hummingbird going from one flower to another. Like I might start, well, I'm usually pretty good about finishing the dishes, but I might start doing a project in one room and then I go in the other room for a second and I start another project. And then I take a break, go back, finish that one, then start another one over here. I kind of end up, really, I like that image of a hummingbird, partially because my friend has created this planner that I've been using and it has a hummingbird on it, so it's stuck in my head. But anyway, I yeah, so I've learned that about myself, and I think I still sort of wrestle with it a little bit because there is so much pressure. I think there's kind of a message that if you're a messy person or if you approach your day in a messy way, then you're not productive, and that's not a good way of doing it. And I'm bringing this up for several reasons. One of which is this weekend, I went to the Museum of the Moving Image, I think it's called MoMI, in New York City. And they have a really wonderful exhibit there about Jim Henson and kind of the span of his career. It's pretty awesome. You can go and like take pictures with some of the original like Sesame Street and Fraggle Rock Muppets and characters, and that's fun even on its own. But there was a funny quote, and I took a picture, and my phone is somewhere under here. um, and it just kind of got me thinking about this topic. It's a topic I already have wanted to talk about here, and so when I saw this, well, there's a couple things. The first is In the very beginning part of the exhibit, they're sort of talking about how he started to become who he was. And I guess he was looking back at his life one day and they have this quote that he said up on the wall. And it says, "It's certainly not a career one would plan. I was interested in television and film and art. And actually, when I went into puppetry, I found that I could combine all of this stuff." And that was like almost the first quote in the Jim Henson part of the museum, in his part of the exhibit. And it was like something I needed to hear because, um, I really am taking this time off and it's been so exciting and also a little scary in some ways. Like, I don't want to waste this opportunity. And what is it that I should be doing? What's the exact, formula to success, to get to the next step of a new career? Um, and actually, I've been pretty good about not feeling stress and allowing myself to explore. Um, but I think it is starting to creep in a little bit. And so it's good to kind of pause and take a reminder that, um, to take a messy approach, in my opinion, um, it's, I think it depends on what works for you. And for me, I've definitely learned that, um, I'm okay multitasking. I like it. I get bored if I'm not doing four different things at once. And there's something about the creativity of one, project kind of inspiring you or making you think of something related to the other project. And I'm very good at, um, I do like, I have in my mind the things that I'm working on and the things that I want to accomplish. And so I know that even if I wasn't able to get to it today or tomorrow, I can circle back and get around to it next week. But I think there is still that internal, question sometimes like, should I just be getting up and have a strict schedule? And if I want to really be a writer, do I need to be writing every day, um, for 4 hours? And I, again, like I said, I don't think that's wrong. I think it's a both and. I think if I did that, I certainly would get to a writing opportunity maybe sooner. But I also want to just leave space for this approach that I, have found works for me and can be true for me, which is I'm kind of doing a little bit of many things all at the same time. And so that quote from Jim Henson made me very happy. Um, just this idea of like following his interest and his curiosity, and that became something which was so amazing. And I like that he said it's not necessarily a career one would plan. I think you can have a very set plan, and that can lead you to a career. Um, but it doesn't have to be the only way. And I am committed to giving myself time this year to be messy. Partially why I'm showing up in my pajamas this morning and just hopping on here to say hello. Um, so yeah, this exhibit was very cool. Look at this great early picture of Jim Henson like playing. Let's see if I can show it. Really playing around with puppetry, and I just love that idea of like pursuing his joy, his creativity, his curiosity. And I didn't know he. Oh, and here's another quote that I found interesting. Or this was just like a description about his life that was on the wall. Puppetry was initially a way for Henson to begin his television career. His appreciation of the history and craft of puppetry deepened when he saw puppet shows during his European travels in 1958. And then there's a quote from him. It was at that time, it was at that point I realized that puppetry was an art form, a valid way to do really interesting things. I came back from that trip all fired up to do wonderful puppetry. And so again, to this, idea of following a messy path, taking a trip to Europe may not seem like, a mandatory requirement if you're trying to build a career. But look, he really gained like an incredibly important perspective for him that I think furthered a direction he was already going and made it more important for him and deepened his kind of passion around it. And so I really think I'm convincing myself right now. But yeah, I just, this was like the message I needed to hear this weekend. And we just randomly went to this museum. I've always wanted to check it out. Another cool quote from him: I badgered my parents until we got a television. I mean, it was a real campaign. I thought it was incredible. I still do. It's amazing to see a live picture that comes to you from somewhere else. I've always been in love with television. Just like the first four walls about his life really kind of, I don't know who did it, but I just love that they were centering this sort of exploration phase that he was in, and that he really was chasing what he was pursuing, which again, like if we think about it objectively, a kid who's dying for a television seems like maybe bad parenting. We might look at it that way these days. But instead, like he just was following what he knew was exciting him. And I love that. And I need to hear that message right now. And there's one other thing. Oh, here, I'll just show you these cute. Check out Kermie. My mom told me that when I was a baby, that's what she and I would do, is we would watch Sesame Street together. So I just even love that even more. And there were cute video streams of all the original characters. It was really, really sweet. We had a good time. All right, one more thing. Oh, shoot. No, I have to show this one too. This is another example for me of like easy, or just how fun creativity can be. There was a little video clip, I'll show you in a second, of these two, they look like maybe something from like an air conditioning duct, like these two tubes. One was a little bit bigger than the other. And he turned them into puppets, and he turned this whole interaction in between these two tubes into like a show. And I love that. And to me, that's another form of like pure, beautiful creativity. Taking something, I actually took a course on creativity, which I need to talk about at one point because it was one of my favorite classes ever. And they talked about one way to be creative is to take an object that has one purpose, like a phone, and then you imagine or you use it as something completely different. Like, I'm not, doing a great job right now, but I could pretend it's a flute. And just that idea of like function, changing the functionality of something. So look at this adorable video. I just like the movement of the tube. You can't tell here on the video, but it really is like an air conditioning tube. And this is one guy. I think this is the bigger guy. I love it. He really looks like he's moving like a worm. And then here comes the smaller one. And he creates a story out of this. They're tapping together, but now for whatever reason, the bigger tube doesn't like the smaller tube. Anyway, it was just another reminder to me of like the beauty of exploring and playing. So here, shout out to my dad, who is a real life Cookie Monster. Got to see a Cookie Monster. Okay, the other thing I wanted to share. Oh, this was kind of cute too. God, now this is becoming a tour of this museum. They had a little Muppet that was kind of had nothing on, almost like a Mr. Potato Head, when it's shaped by itself, and then had all of these noses and hats and wigs you could put on the side, and then you could film your little Muppet that you made. The camera angle wasn't great for the Muppet, but it was kind of cute, and then you could show your person. So that was a cute idea. Oh, Lord, I have to show these guys because they are my favorite. The grumpy old men. Oh, my God. all my favorite characters. Oh, the Swedish chef was there. All right, Ariane, get to where you want it to go. Should I just keep showing all my favorite characters? Why not? Why not? I've already gone this deep. The Swedish chef, the best. I don't remember what these guys were, but they're very cute. And I always loved this guy. I don't know why. I just thought he was funny. He never really said anything. And he was kind of like this moody, serious musician. All hail to the queen. And then the Fraggles were so fun. Okay. But really what I was getting to was where did the quote go? Oh shoot. I don't think I took a picture of it. Yes I did. No I didn't. Hold on. Did I somehow not take a picture of that? All right, I'm gonna have to describe it. So yeah, I don't think I took a picture of it. That's so funny. I thought I did. So then towards the end of the exhibit, throughout the exhibit, there continued to be kind of quotes from him on the walls. And towards the end of the exhibit, there was a quote that was like, keep it simple, or from him that was like, just keep things simple. And then right next to that quote was a quote from one of his colleagues or someone he worked with that was like, Jim always says keep it simple, but then he like exhausts himself and us with all this like complicated work that he does. Why did I think I wanted to share that? Well, I don't know if it really relates to what I'm saying now, but maybe. I think it sort of relates in the fact that I think we want things to be simple because then it's maybe less scary. We feel like we can understand it and tame it. But the creative process really is a messy one. And I don't know. Like I could, again, simplify my life and just focus on one thing. But I know myself. I know I would be bored, number one. And number two, I think sometimes that more complex process can lead to something more interesting or more developed. I guess that's kind of where I'm at. And transitioning now to, I haven't read this in a while, but I think I remember that this is also connecting to this same theme, so I wanted to share it here. Oh my God. This is actually not the first book that I found from this guy. So one thing I'd like to do in my many things I want to do is create a children's book, write a children's book, make a children's book, write it and make the art for it. And I have thought that for a long time. And I also came across this, I believe he is French, children's book author. Okay, I think this is the first one I found. I think he's a genius. This book is called Press Here. And it's funny because I'm now thinking about the fact that my first video was a little bit inspired by and definitely titled by those choose your own adventure books. And what I liked about them as a kid is that they were kind of interactive, right? You got to choose where the story went to. And I'm realizing now as I'm holding this in my hand, this book is also interactive. And I wonder if that's something that I am attracted to. All right, so this book, his name is, it's Hervé. He writes it by hand. It's a little hard to see it on here. Yeah, it's Hervé Tullet, I guess is it pronounced in French. I'll show you the name. Hervé Tullet. I don't think this is backwards. I hope it's not. Anyway, I'll put a tag for him. Okay, check out this amazing book. Press Here, it's called. I just love the graphics, the visual colors. That's just, before the title page. It says ready, and then there's the yellow dot. Press here and turn the page. So obviously if you push, you can already turn the page without pushing this dot. But I don't know, as like a person with a continued sense of childlike wonder, I was like, ooh, I'm interacting with the page. Great. Ooh, we've made 2 dots. I think this is so cute. Great. Now press the yellow dot again. Perfect. Oh, look, it turned into 3. Rub the dot on the left gently. As teachers, I had a mentor who was really good, who told me that good teachers teach the same material, but they like present it in different ways so that the mind gets the repetition, but the kind of novelty and the excitement is still there because you're teaching the same material, but in different ways. And this to me reminds me a little bit of that. Now that I'm saying it out loud, it doesn't feel true. But anyway, well done. Oh, so by rubbing the dot, I've changed the color. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I just thought this was actually, speaking of simple, very simple, but super creative, and I loved it. And I bought it right when I saw it, and I keep this on my bookshelf with other books that inspire me to potentially become a children's book writer. Anyway, so then I saw a couple more volumes from him later, and one of them is I Have an Idea, and I like this because I think it talks about being messy as someone developing something. I always love that moment when you suddenly feel a puff of breath. Oh, I have an idea. This happens to me a lot, so I also related to this. It's a magnificent feeling. But just what is an idea? At first, you aren't really sure. That's true, Hervé. I'm not really sure what I'm doing this year. But you start looking. That's what I'm doing right now. And looking. And looking. Nothing. So you keep on looking. Some more. It can get a bit boring. And then suddenly, oh, there it is. An idea. It's new. It's different. There's nothing like it. It's a little like finding a seed, which grows and grows and grows. And what you do once you've found, and what do you do once you've found an idea? This is a question I'd like to know, since I only have ideas, so many ideas every day. Often the ideas come rushing. They can be a bit messy and bubbly. It's time to get to work. Jot them down. Organize them. Try. Make. I think this is a mess. Start again. Explore. And then finally, after all that work, you're there. Oof, a good idea. Love this, childlike depiction of a messy process. And right away, you know it's good because in every good idea, there's always a seed of madness. Yes, right up my alley. So how do you find and cultivate those seeds? They're there everywhere in the world. But you won't always be able to see them. This is actually a visual picture of how my mind feels sometimes. You'll have to look closely. Be curious, look, listen, touch, taste, smell, learn. And then one day while you're still looking, this is great. I like this concept. Just being in a looking period. This is what I want to talk about to wrap up my video. Some of the seeds will cluster together, and then I have an idea. Another one is coming. But why look for all those ideas? Maybe just for the fun of it. Ooh, I like the idea of just staying in that feeling of fun. Maybe to change the world. In any case, there's one thing I've learned with looking comes finding. Oh my God, I didn't know how deep this was going to be this morning. And so if you look, you too, and that's it. So yeah, I think I came on today because I know I've given myself this time off this year, and I didn't know exactly the structure of what the year would be. And I have been feeling very okay and comfortable with that. But I do think this thing has been creeping in that's like, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. And I want to like reinforce for myself to be messy is okay. And really the joy and the fun and the success can come in, like with looking comes finding. And I definitely think we don't do enough messy looking and just spending time sitting, thinking, doodling, being kind of random. And I'm very much realizing that and enjoying that. And so what I've been doing so far, I can share. At first, what I had to do was kind of clean up my apartment. I set up my office, and I did things that I had been needing to do that I just had neglected for a long time because I had put work first for a long time. And that felt really good just to like spend some time for me getting a little bit organized and cleaned up. And then from there, I have been definitely drawing and painting a lot and enjoying doing that. I've had lots of art supplies in this room for a long time, but just haven't spent a lot of time using them. And so it's been fun to just sit down and start doodling and just see where it goes. I have been not as successful, why do I have to use that word, but I've wanted to do some writing, something called Morning Pages, from the book The Artist's Way. Yeah. And again, I have not been consistent with that in the way they ask you to do it in the book, but I've done it more times in my life than I ever have now, which is wonderful. And I love just sitting down and whenever I have some time and just letting my thoughts flow onto the page. What else have I been doing? I started taking piano, which is awesome. It'll be my second time. Oh yeah, I talked about that already. My second lesson this week. I've been trying to go out. I live in New York City. I'm trying to go out into the city and do things and enjoy the city again in ways that I just didn't have time or energy to as a teacher. So that's been cool. So just going to that museum this weekend randomly kind of gave me some thoughts and ideas to write about, to share. And I do feel like it may be hard to follow me this morning, but I am sitting with the slight discomfort of that and being okay with it because I really do want to, share 3 videos a week on YouTube. And I'm okay with how they are, what they show up, because I'm learning that that's part of the process. Like you figure it out as you're doing it. So what else am I doing so far with my time? Oh, I've been working with my aunt to help her. She's an artist. And you learn to use Instagram in a way to expand her audience. And that has been so much fun. we have, I lived near her when I was a child. So I grew up around her, and then I even lived with her for a year. So we have a very strong bond anyway. And my mother was an artist, and I always wanted to help my mom market her work. It's funny, it's before Instagram. And she passed away. She's no longer here, so I can't do that necessarily for her anymore. But I am able to do it with and for my aunt. And we're just having so much fun. And it's great to see her. She's, typically does like drawings, paintings, kind of collages, really amazing colors. She has a very like funky style that I'm attracted to. I love it. And it's been fun to watch her. She was a little hesitant and nervous in the beginning, but start to kind of really use that creative spirit that she has, like through Instagram. So that's another thing I love is social media, and I've been using Canva, teaching myself how to use Canva. So I'm just kind of like in the Hervé Touye. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Hopefully my French family will correct me. But I'm in the messy phase, and I'm like enjoying it. Those are kind of the main areas I've been working in. Although I've been doing seriously a million other things. Every day I'm in here for at least 12 hours, and I'm busy the whole time. It's fun, but I'm doing all kinds of things. Anyway, yeah, just wanted to say I'm feeling messy, and I hope if you're also sort of struggling with is it okay to be messy? I hope this gives you permission to be messy. I hope the meandering, jumbly rumbliness of this video gives you permission to be messy. There's beauty in the mess. And if you're not a messy person and you just enjoy seeing what a messy thinker looks like, welcome. Because we all have different ways of thinking. Maybe not surprisingly, my partner is a very linear thinker, and we have a lot of fun because I always joke that, I mean, his mind is so powerful. He got a perfect score on the math portion of his SAT. But I always tease him because sometimes there's things that he's looking at and he's just like, can't get past step one. I'm like, babe, you make me feel like a genius. So anyway, whatever. We need many kinds of thinkers, and we should collaborate together. And yeah, so today is just all about celebrating the mess, and yeah, I think that works for me today. And Tonton and I have not forgotten you. I know that you want a video of me making art. I'll be honest and say, well, first of all, that's not true. I'm waiting for, I ordered a tripod, and that's going to help me because speaking of creative, this is how I created with this plastic thing and this cool lamp that was my grandmother's. This lamp has been my like social media light. And who knew when I picked it, that's what it would become. So look what I did. I created this tripod cell phone holder so that last week I could like film my art. Well, it really worked better than that, but I was like drawing beneath with my phone. But yeah, it just didn't work as well as I wanted it to. It kind of did. Whatever. Anyway, I'm waiting for a tripod. Look at this. Right? Not bad. Speaking of creativity, this is trash. This was like some trash that I found. So this week on, I'm going to record me making some art. I think what I was going to say also is that I'm feeling a little vulnerable to show me making art because I have this idea that I'm not very good yet. But that's okay. I'm okay with that too. Um, it's been fun to. So last year, my job was really far away, and I had to commute an hour and 20 minutes each way. And so I put this little free art app on my phone, and I would just doodle every time I got on the subway. And it was so fun. And it made me look forward to an hour and 20 minutes on a New York City subway. Um, and I loved it. And it's been fun to see how that practice, actually, speaking of regular practice, was wonderful. And like I'm seeing it come out on paper, whereas I was kind of doing similar shapes on my tiny little screen on my phone. And now it's like coming out and painting sometimes. So it's just fun to see that. All right. I still think I'm having this idea in my head that I need to like plan my weeks out a certain way. Um, and that's okay. I'll just sit with that. But yeah, I like the messiness. I like the messiness. Someone described me recently as random, and that was the best thing about me. And that word like stings a little bit, but it shouldn't. I mean, there's something beautiful about it. Whatever. All right, everyone. All 17 of you. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. Having a nice day. Have a great Monday. Look at this beautiful sunshine. Ciao.